Welcome to Late Nights with Mrs. Gutenberg, here to teach you physical science.
Hey guys, I just wanted to do a quick little review of the different types of forces and then work through two force diagrams with you. So hopefully you saw this in what you did Monday and Tuesday with Edge Elastic, but an applied force is like your push or pull. So if the box represented the object, this might be a person pushing on the box or a person pulling on the box. Or if I got rid of this, right, there would be an applied pulling force. That could be like somebody pulling a wagon. So it's the applied. Tension would be anything like hanging by a rope or a string. Gravity always works in the downward direction. The normal force is something that's probably new to you. Normal is that force, so if like I'm sitting on a chair, I'm not falling through the chair because of gravity. So the chair is actually pushing back up on me with the same force that I'm pushing down on the chair when I sit on it. That's called the normal force. So it always works opposite to gravity. So if gravity is pulling down, the normal force is always working in the opposite direction. So this person standing here, right, they don't fall into the earth because the ground is pushing back up with them with the same force. So that's an example of normal force. Same thing with like a book at rest somewhere. The book doesn't fall through the ground, or if it's at rest on a table, it doesn't fall through the table because the normal force is pushing back up on the book. A spring, that's one that we don't use very often, but that would be if something were suspended from a spring, if the spring was either compressed or stretched. And then friction is another one you guys are pretty familiar with. So like if I was pulling a wagon, this was a wagon and I was an applied pulling force, friction obviously would work in the opposite direction. And I'm not going to be super picky where you put the arrows. Like if you would have happened to tell me that friction was right here going this way, as long as it was in the opposite direction of the applied force, that would be completely fine. And then just another one I forgot is air resistance. So a lot of times that's going to be an object that's falling. So for example, if gravity, if this is a piece of paper and gravity is pulling it down to earth, air resistance is going to be working in the opposite direction. And right now it doesn't really matter when you learn about net force. Later on Thursday, you'll be more concerned about the size of the arrows because that represents the size of the force. But for now, just when you check your answers, the ones that you're going to do today with 1 through 11, just make sure your arrows are going in the right direction and you have the forces labeled correctly. So you're going to work your way through. Could you show my computer screen? You're going to work your way through these problems 1 through 11. So not too many things to do today. So I'm just going to do number 1 and 2 with you. So the first one says, so I'll just do them on here. So a book is at rest on a tabletop. Diagram the forces acting on the book. So this is my book. It's always represented by a square. You have to, first of all, recognize the two forces. So if it's at rest on a table, obviously we have gravity. And then the table would be pushing back up on the book, so we would call that the normal force. So gravity always pulls down, so you would label that F of gravity, or just grav. And then the normal force pushes back up, so that would be F norm. You might also see norm on top. Again, I'm not going to be super picky about these arrows, and gravity pulling down. But as long as your normal force is going up and gravity is going down, right, these two things basically say the same thing. Number 2, I'll just do right here. A gymnast holding onto a bar is suspended motionless in midair. The bar is supported by 2 ropes that attach to the ceiling. Diagram the forces acting on the combination of gymnast and bar. So this square represents both the gymnast and the bar she's holding onto. So obviously if she's holding onto a bar suspended by 2 ropes, you're going to have 2 tensional forces. So you could picture it, right? Like here's my ropes and there's the bar and the gymnast is holding on or something like that. So tension, you're going to have 2 tensions going up. And then obviously gravity is going to be pulling her down, and there's really no other forces working on her. So go ahead and do numbers 3 through 11. You can check your answers. You can check them as you go. And you don't need to show me any evidence that you've completed this. So here's the 2 that we did together. We did normal is obviously going up and gravity is down. And then with this gymnast, tension is up and gravity is down. So hopefully this makes sense. Again, the answers are there for you to check. And I hope you have a good day. I'll see you later.
And this concludes our session with Mrs. Gutenberg. Enjoy your day, stay healthy, and wash your hands.